Hello and welcome to my live interview today for the Victorious Souls podcast. We got a little delayed today, but I'm so excited. We don't have to reschedule, just a little bit later than planned, but we get to talk with Kathleen Donnelly Israel, 72 years old, and she walked the Camino Portuguese. Wow. And this was after many years of pain and caregiving for her husband. And wow, 500 miles all by herself, walking the Camino from Lisbon to Santiago and then on to Fisterra. And I can't wait to get into this and share this with you and hear her story myself, because I've only heard little bits of it. I just can't wait to share this with you today as I get to interview Kathleen. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Danielle Burnock from DanielleBurnock.com. Love yourself from Survive to Thrive, that lady on the internet who loves you. So welcome with me today, Kathleen. I was just telling everyone, I'm so excited we get to do this today. We are a little delayed, but we get to do this. I can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, yes. I told them how you have done this amazing thing of walking the Camino. And that's amazing for someone at any age, but you're 72 years old now, or when you did the Camino, or both?
I'm 73 now, and I was 69 when I started the Camino Frances. But last year I walked the one in Portugal. So anyway, I was 69 when I started.
More than one of them. Wow.
Yeah, I had my 70th birthday on the Camino.
Oh, wow.
2019. That was pretty cool.
Wow. Well, before we get into all of that, why don't you paint a picture for everyone of who Kathleen is? How you grew up, you got married, you've done all these things before that. Paint a little picture for us of your life.
Oh, okay. Well, I was born in San Diego. My whole family is from San Diego. And I, just grew up here, and I had a little difficult child rearing, or what I had a difficult life in the beginning, because my father was a troubled man. He was a alcoholic, rageaholic child molester. And so anyway, that was difficult. And it's so funny. I just had my 8th grade class reunion yesterday and or Saturday. And and I just got together with all those people that were in grade school with me. And it was funny. They were talking about how embarrassing it was for the really smart kids. They put them in the front of the class, and then the dumb kids got in the back. So I was in the back, but it's because I wasn't paying attention when I was a child, because I was tuning out as a child. So everything was difficult in my life. And I believe that I came in as a low vibrational spirit. I heard that you can raise your vibration if you come into the earth and be a human. And so I was out there with God, and then so I let me come in, even though knowing that I would have I would be attracting horrible stuff from the get-go. And so the way you raise your vibration is with unconditional love. And you can't even do unconditional love unless you have adversity, because it's really easy to love the people who love us. And when it's difficult, and it causes us to grow when we love the people that have been harsh to us. Through my course, so I grew up, I went to high school in San Diego, Rosary High School, and then I met Ron, and I married Ron. And I was a sad person, and he used to tell me beautiful things. Like I'd say, well, he would wonder why I'm sad. And I'm like, well, just tell me about beautiful things. And he would tell me about beautiful gardens and brick walkway, tall trees, plants all around. And I think that's one reason why I fell in love with him.
Oh, wow.
So we married, and we had 5 kids. We thought we would have 9 kids, and because we wanted to be the Waltons. And and then when we got to 4, we were like, yeah, this is a lot of work. I think 4 is enough. And then our son had 3 sisters, and he just didn't want to be part of our family. He wanted a brother. And so we tried again, and God was really gracious to us and gave us another son. So we didn't have to try for 6, right? I mean, 4 was a lot of work. 5 made me crazy, but I was already kind of crazy from my childhood. But my family was very, I mean, when you have somebody with difficulty like that, if your family is willing to put up with it, then you don't have to go to the loony bin, So, so anyway, I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but Ron and I, we're a team couple for Marriage Encounter. The thing about Marriage Encounter is I found out that deciding to love someone is a good way to love someone. Sometimes I just really didn't feel like I loved Ron, and I felt like a fake,
Mm-hmm.
And when I found out that love is a decision, that made me so happy. It just changed the rest of my life, really.
Yeah.
So then, Ron and I lived our life, and he was an athlete. He was a triathlete.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a wannabe athlete, and he was an athlete. We actually ran a marathon together, and he ran it in 3 hours, and I ran it in 5.5 hours.
Wow.
but I finished.
Good for you. Congratulations. I've never
Yes.
run a marathon. Not going to do it.
Not going to. Well, I trained with Team and Training and ran for the Leukemia Society. So they help you out. They help you do it.
Wow, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So then after a while, how long were you married? And then Ron got sick, right?
Yeah, we were married. We were married 48 years total. So we must have been married. I don't know. He was sick for 17 years. Seems like, anyway, he got sick in 2001. He actually was sick before that. In order to diagnose Parkinson's disease, they just have to try different things. And they thought he had arthritis for a long time. And then finally, somebody, the physical therapist said, yeah, your limbs are not moving like they're supposed to. And so he got referred to a neurologist, and that, then we found out, it's Parkinson's disease. And for an athlete, it's pretty amazing. When his parents found out, they were like, oh no, not Ron, and I did not know anything about it. I guess I knew it was a debilitating disease, but I wasn't really aware what we were in for. And the next Sunday after we went, he was diagnosed, we went to church, and the priest, oh my gosh, he was up there talking, and he told us that he had gone to visit someone in the late stages of Parkinson's disease. And then he said, and you don't want to know about that. And I was just like, oh man.
Wow.
Yeah. So God was telling me, I think,
Giving you a little bit of a warning to help you.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about it either. So,
well, so anyway, he started taking the meds, and I am not a meds taker. And so I was kind of irritated with him, and I was trying to find different cures online, and I sent $50 to this guy in Australia. He said he had a cure, but Ron didn't want to have anything to do with it. And anyway, so I I guess I was telling him the meds, I was unhappy about the meds. And so he stopped taking them one day. And he was sitting on the couch and he could not move. His body was like a stone around him.
Oh.
And that made me even more angry because he could actually move before he started taking those meds. And then after he started taking them, he couldn't even move unless he took them. And that really made me angry. And so I I just had to put up with it. I had to realize that he wanted me to love him the way he was. He didn't want me to be his healer. He didn't want me to change him. And so then I just gave up and I just, went along with what he wanted. That's all. And after he had had Parkinson's for maybe 7 years, it was in 2010, he became in so much pain. You could just look at him and say, this man is in pain, but he didn't complain. He was just in pain, and he told me about it, but he, wasn't complaining all the time. And it was just, so we took him to the doctor and they sent us to the back doctor. It was the back pain. And they told him he had stenosis of the spine. And they wanted to give him gabapentin. And I'm like, geez, he's already taking 8 pills a day. He was taking 1 for the hand movements. And then they gave him another pill to counteract the side effects of that one, and another one to counteract sides. He was taking 8 pills. And I just thought the reason why your back hurts is because you're med soup, and anyway, so so soon after that, this doctor came to our house. I bought negative ion clothes to help him, but he wouldn't wear them. I mean, I was trying stuff, and anyway, I had advertised the negative ion clothes. They're so expensive. Everybody signs up so you can get 20% off. And so I could help people get them. This doctor came out and to look at the clothes, and he took one look at Ron and he said, "Oh, I know why I'm here." And then he started telling me how he was going to cure Ron. And I was just like, okay, well, Ron doesn't want to do anything I tell him to do. So if you want to do this with Ron, you go talk to Ron. And so he did. He talked Ron into it. And Ron went off of the doctor took all his meds with him so he wouldn't take them. And the next morning he was like in so much pain. He said, "I need the meds. You don't understand. I just need them. That's all." So I called the doctor, and he was actually just walking up my street. And he came every day. That first day when Ron was in so much pain, he gave him a coffee enema. And after that, he had no more pain after that coffee enema.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And so the doctor had me giving him 3 coffee enemas a day. The doctor would come and give him the first one, and I would give him 2 more during the day. And then to be juicing apples and carrots and celery and feeding that to him. And during this time, he was totally paralyzed. He couldn't do anything. Well, I think he could move his hands. And found out different ways to transport him. He had this death grip like this with his hands. And so I got a little short stick, and wide enough that it could go through the bathroom door. And I had him hang onto the stick, and I pulled it up. And when I pulled him, he could actually walk. It was very strange. And so I could take him to the bathroom. It was amazing.
Wow.
But I had to curtail my life at that point because I couldn't leave him alone. And so I had to quit my job and stuff like that. So from 2010 to 2018, he was totally disabled. he, after about 6 months, the doctor gave up because Ron didn't get cured.
Mm.
And so he stopped coming. And so so anyway, the kids said, well, you can't leave him paralyzed. And Ron was like, I'm fine. I'm not in pain. I'm fine being paralyzed. And and so the kid heard about this deep brain stimulator. So we went and got the deep brain stimulator, and he could walk for about, I don't know, 6 months. And then they did the other side, and it was a failed deep brain stimulator, and he couldn't walk or talk anymore after that. So that was 2011.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's what we did. And then he just declined. And, we went to, what do you call that? A support group.
Mhm.
And they kind of separated the Parkinsonians with the caregivers. And we had this little caregiver covey. We were talking to each other. And this one lady said, I didn't sign up for this. And I just thought, are
Who
you
does?
kidding me? No, we
I
did
mean, where
sign
would the
up.
line be? I mean, you don't sign up for stuff like that.
No, you do. I was 20 years old when we got married, and I was listening. They said, till death do us part, in
Oh, right,
sickness and in
right,
health.
right.
In sickness and in health. What do
Right.
you think that means? We're not going to die
Gotcha.
together. We aren't. Somebody's going to be taking care of somebody at some point in your marriage. And so I was listening, and I was committed. So that's what we did.
Right. Right. Well, then he ends up dying in 2018. And
Right.
how long after that did you do this Camino thing? How did that even
Right.
come to pass?
Well,
I mean, it would have never entered my mind to do something like that. We were talking a little bit ahead of time how you had done some schooling with a school that was in Switzerland and stuff. So maybe
right.
did that play into it? Because you've been to Switzerland. I've never been to Switzerland. So
Yeah. No, that was a real gift that I had to stop. I had to stop going because Ron didn't have a job anymore, and I had to quit my job. So we were like bare bones over here. I had to start renting out my rooms in my house, so we didn't lose the house. Anyway, yeah, I think everybody saw the movie The Way, right? Did you see that movie, The Way?
I think so. It was a long time ago.
It was
though.
pretty popular. And then about 2013, while I was taking care of Ron, back up a little bit. Ron and I had dreams of what we were going to be doing in our old age. And yeah, I thought we'd be riding our bicycles across France. He was an athlete, and I just thought we would be doing fun stuff like that together when we were old. And so when I realized that wasn't going to happen, then that was pretty depressing. It was depressing along the way, giving up things as I went. And when 2013, my friend Judy went on the Camino. And even though
a friend who went.
Yeah. So in 2013, I called her up and I said, what year was that? It was 2013. And she shared about it on Facebook. And so there I was taking care of Ron, and I noticed that she was doing something very special for herself. Mm-hmm. And even though she got blisters and walked with bloody feet and stuff, I thought Judy's doing something special for herself. And I decided at that time that when Ron was done with his disease, I was going to go do that.
Oh, wow. So that gave you something to look forward to in the midst of your difficulty. That's like hope, because hope gives us light, and it probably helped pull you out of that depression to some extent, right?
Well, I really,
I mean, it didn't make it easy by any means. I wasn't even saying that.
Right. Well, I was so angry with Ron in the beginning, and we actually, while I was doing the coffee enemas, we did a novena to, there was a what is this guy? His name is Blessed Solanus Casey. And I got this holy card, and it said they were looking for a miracle so they could call him a saint. You know, there's a process, a saint process in the Catholic Church, and you have to have a miracle. So I thought, wow, we'll get a miracle for you. Fine, that'll be great. We'll just cure Ron. And so we did that novena, and we kept going after the 9 days. And you know what? I'm the one that got the healing because I wasn't angry anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was a miracle. I did get that, but it wasn't like, you know, oh, we don't have Parkinson's anymore. You know, it wasn't that kind of miracle. So
Well, getting rid of deep-seated anger in our heart is a miracle. I mean,
yeah, it
you
was.
had a lot of reason for anger. If you look back at your
Right.
childhood and all the things that you went through,
Right.
it would be like layer upon layer upon layer of cause for that.
Right.
For you to find release from that, I think that's pretty miraculous.
I think, you know, you are absolutely right. So what next? Oh yeah, so after Ron died, I had to do, you know, the funeral, the graveside, the bank, the insurance, you know, all that stuff. And right about January, I was done with all that stuff. And so I thought, well, I better get ready for the Camino. So I started watching YouTubes, and there was a talk at the library about how to pack light for the Camino. And I couldn't believe I heard about it because I don't really hear about it too much. And so I went up there, and the lady was so nice. I was actually, the room was full, and I was the only one going on the Camino. Everybody else was interested in packing light.
Oh.
And so I was just like, she just told me all about what to do. And she said, when you go, I told her I was going to go from Saint-Jean Pied de Port, and she said, oh, good, we'll stay at the Bellari, and it's going to be a wonderful experience. And then she told me to make reservations for the first 3 nights. And then after that, I could, you know, just do it as I went. And so I did all that. I bought my pack at REI. I actually had to take it back 3 times. The 4th one was a charm because they made me sweaty, or they, you know, I just, for some reason, didn't like the packs. And I finally found a really great pack. And I noticed a lot of people on the Camino had my pack. So it was a good pack. And then they said to take like 30 liters, and my pack was a 36-liter pack. So I had extra room. They said 30 to 36-liter packs. So that's what I had. And I got my, you know, I got all the stuff. She like showed us a shirt, and then a shirt that was light enough to take on the Camino. And she had us hold them in our hand and see the difference between just a t-shirt and a lightweight shirt that you should take with you. So I just spent my days on Amazon looking up how much shirts weighed. And then I was like, I'd put in lightweight sun protection shirt, you know, and then I would find, and I wore long sleeves every day because I didn't want to wear sunscreen. And so it was good. I got all my stuff together, and I got my airfare for the end of March, and I flew to Paris and spent a week in Paris being a tourist, so I wouldn't have jet lag when I started. And
good idea.
And then I flew to Bayonne, and then I took a cab to, maybe I flew to Biarritz and I took a cab to Bayonne. I can't remember which way it goes. And then, so the next day I took a train to Saint-Jean Pied de Port, and there I was on the Camino.
Wow. That's amazing. I never would have thought about how much space and the weight of things. And did you bring water with you as well? Is that something that you carried with you? I mean, I don't know how the Camino works. I did see that movie a long time ago, but
yeah.
Tell us about something about the Camino. Like, what was like the hardest thing about it, and what was like the easiest thing about it?
Well, the hardest thing was going up mountains, walking up mountains. That was the hardest thing. And the most beautiful thing was the scenery, and actually the art along the Camino was so breathtaking. Seeing the ancient art, how they used to make the statue of the Blessed Mother and the baby Jesus. It would look like, they just took a tree, and they didn't carve in very far. They made these statues, and you could really tell when you saw a very ancient, like 1200s statue of of Marian, the baby. And just, cathedrals and, I mean, the earth was a cathedral. Some of the places I went through, and I have a lot of description in my book about the nature. And so it was.
How long was the
How long was I
500
there?
miles is a long walk. So
Yeah.
how much time, how many months or whatever did it take you to
Yeah,
do
I'm
this?
I'm kind of a special case, I think, because I'm an old lady. And so I was actually there on the Camino for 66 days. Um, a- Most people, I think, would be 35 to 45 days. But I had some things I wanted to do. Like, so after I started walking, and then I would get in on Sunday and I would flop down, and I would miss mass on Sunday. And I thought, wow, gee, I'm on this holy pilgrimage. I'm not even going to mass on Sunday. And so then at that point, I started you can only stay one night in the albergues. They're the special places for the pilgrims to stay. So I would have to get a hotel on Saturday night and stay on Sunday and go to mass in the morning. And then I would just be a tourist on Sunday and leave on Monday. So I started doing that. So that delayed me, and I took Holy Week off. I stayed in one town for Holy Week. Oh my gosh, the Spanish know how to do Holy Week. It's incredible. I mean, yeah, it's very dramatic. And so I stayed in a town and did Holy Week. I became one of the church ladies.
Oh,
And even though I had my hiking attire on, I mean, I didn't bring anything extra, right? I didn't want to carry anything. So
right.
all I had was my hiking attire. And I had shower shoes and hiking boots. Those were my shoes. And yeah, that was really great. And I was sick a few times. Actually, my health went really down while I was caring for my husband. I live a clean life, but that was hard. It was really hard. So so I think maybe that might have been why I got sick so many times, because my reserves weren't there.
Mhm.
And I was walking up this one mountain. It was so high, and my clothes were absolutely wet from sweat. And I got a UTI after that. From being dehydrated from walking up that mountain, that I got all my sweat out. But I found that I needed to drink 3 liters a day. And I mean, I just figured that out. If I drank 3 liters a day, I didn't get a UTI. So urinary tract infection, for those that don't know that. And yeah, so I had some illnesses. There was one guy that came up to me, it was a Polish guy. He came up to me in the evening one day and said, I don't feel good. My bones hurt. What do you think I should do? And I just kind of backed up like, oh no, germs. And I told him, I like handed him a bouillon cube, and I said, how about some chicken soup, and the next day he did not leave. He stayed in his sleeping bag. And so when I left, I told the hospitalario that he had a sick one in there. So, I mean, you have to deal with it when you're sick on the Camino. I think at that, and then I did get sick the next week, but I don't blame him. I think a lot of people were sick. We're just there together, it's like a
How many
family.
people did you do you walk with them, or you're just kind of at the same place, or?
Yeah, you get into the same place and stay in the same, albergue together. But I walk so slow, nobody would walk with me. And every once in a while, God sent me an angel or something, and somebody would just slow down when they got to me and want to talk to me. So we would just talk to each other for a while, and then they'd go on, and I'd be there walking alone. But that was all right. I went alone and I wasn't afraid. I knew that I took my angels with me, and I have like 4 angels that I know personally. And so they went with me, and I wasn't afraid. And in the beginning, there's so many mountains, and you're walking on these windy roads, and you can't really see anybody else because you can't see far ahead or far behind. But after I got to the mesita and I was walking on a straight road, I could see people ahead of me and behind me. So I wasn't alone. After that, I felt a lot better knowing there were people on the road. I just thought everybody just passed me up, but actually there were people walking as fast as me. They never caught up with me, right?
See, you weren't so slow. Everyone has their own pace in life.
I actually did pass up one woman, and she was from New York. Her name was Geraldine, and she was walking so slowly. And I actually slowed down and walked with her for a little while and talked to her. But anyway, she just kept going.
Can you share a story with us? Something that you learned on the Camino, a story with someone, or something you shared?
Yeah. I met this guy in anyway, there was a guy that I met in Sahagan, and that's the halfway mark. I actually, that particular albergue was a monastery, and they had 4 bunks in each, 2 bunk beds in each room. And so there were just 4 of us in that room. And they were so kind to me. It was so funny. Anyway, I got used to sharing laundry with people because you pay for the washing machine and you only got a few things because you can't take very much. So I asked them, you want to do laundry together? And they were like, oh yeah. And so we got all our clothes together and put them in the laundry, in the washing machine, and put our coins in. And I went to take a shower while they were washing, and they went out to have lunch on the patio. And so when I came out to the patio, I said, oh, I think it's time to hang up the laundry. And so he goes, oh, I already did it. And he had hung them up on the, there was like a big patio on the bottom. And then on the next story up, there was a walkway, and there were all kinds of places to hang your clothes up there on the walkway. So he had hung them up already. And he sheepishly looked at me and he said, I have to admit, I got a thrill when I hung up your bra. He was so cute, this young man. And then they were eating a salad and they hadn't finished the whole thing. And so somebody gave me their plate and they had a clean fork. And so I ate their salad with them. So that was what we do. We just, share with each other. And I met a few other people that they knew also. And so that was really nice. Oh yeah, the story. He had a problem because his they live in Ireland, right? And they live in a small town in Ireland. And his parents had moved to Dublin and left the boys, to finish raising each other in whatever town it was. And so his older brother had left, and he was there with his younger brother. And now it was time for him to leave. But his younger brother was angry at him for leaving. He didn't want his brother to leave and want to be left alone. And
yeah.
and his brother was like, yeah, but I need to live my life now. His brother, he waited till his brother graduated from high school. And then he's like, I need to leave. And his brother was, angry with him. And so I said, well, let's make up a good story about this. What could we, this is making you very sad. Let's make up a good story. And so, so I said, okay, so think about you and your brothers. What makes you really happy? And he said, well, having our whole family at our house made us happy, our parents and us 3 boys, that was a happy time. And I said, okay, well, take away your older brother or take away your parents. And he's like, yeah, we're happy together. And I said, okay, take away your older brother and think about how you could be happy. And he's like, well, if my parents came back, we could be happy. And then I said, is there anything else? And he said, well, maybe my brother could go live with my parents in Dublin. That would make him happy. And so I was like, this is possibility thinking. You think about how bad things are and how can I make it better is where you need to be thinking, because possibilities don't exist in our depression, our sadness. You need to change your thinking so that you can have, so you can be happy. And that's what I had to do with my childhood. I had to change it up. I used to think my sad story was really important, and I used to tell it a lot. And I didn't realize that every time I told my sad story, I was reinforcing that sad story in my life. And so I needed to get a different, somebody told me a long time ago, why don't you just make up a different story? And I'm like, well, that wouldn't be true, and so, but really after, while Ron was sick, I had to be home. And so I went online and studied with a whole bunch of enlightened thought leaders. And to cure myself, I've been trying to cure myself of my sadness my whole life, right? Going to shrinks and stuff. And so I just studied with a lot of enlightened thought leaders, and through, like I was doing it for like many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like after that, I had learned some stuff, and I got some really good ideas about how to be happy. And so, so that's why I wanted to write the book. Actually, I wanted to write a book about the things I had learned while I was studying while Ron was ill. And so when I
And
went
do you have
to,
a copy of your book with you?
yeah, here it is.
Wisdom on the Camino.
Camino. A spiritual journey sharing forgiveness and possibilities to inspire the rest of your life. Wow. And so when I went to write my book, I was like, well, I felt uncomfortable being teachy. And I remembered that I had told people those things while I walked the Camino. I shared them with people. When people would have a problem, I would share something about something I had learned. And so when I started writing the book, I wrote my bare bones of my book about my teachings. And then I just wrote down around them the people I talked to about those things. And that's how I wrote my book. I wrote the book about walking the Camino and telling people those things. So it's really a beautiful book, a lot of, talking about the beauty of the nature and stuff, but also there's when I met people and what I told them.
Wow. That's wonderful. So where can people get your book? Is it available on Amazon or in bookstores?
Yeah,
or where
I self-published. Mm-hmm. And it's on Amazon. You just put Wisdom on the Camino and it comes right up. Okay. And yeah.
And how can people connect with you if they want to hear more of your story, or they'd like to have you on their podcast, or do you do speaking at other places? Are you available for speaking?
Yeah, I am. And my website is wisdomonthecamino.com. And I'm Kathleen at wisdomonthecamino.com is my email. So,
Okay. Are you on any social media also?
yeah, on Facebook. Facebook, it's kind of interesting. I wanted to do these podcasts, but I wanted to honor my host by sharing the podcast on Facebook with my friends. And I thought, well, if I start a new Facebook page, then I won't have any friends on it. You know what I mean? And how's that gonna? So I just share my podcasts with my friends on Facebook, and I have about I just went over the 1,000 mark on my friends on my Facebook
Woohoo.
page. I know.
You go.
So yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and anyway, I need to get into that. I need to upgrade my Instagram every so often. Anyway.
Well, you
I'm an
are
old
doing
lady.
a lot more than a lot of other people your age are doing, and that is very commendable. And you just continue to grow. That is very inspiring also, to help other people to keep living, keep growing, commit to the things that they have committed to. Like you said back when that lady said, I didn't sign up for that, way I was seeing that was not signing up for that specific thing, but you went right back to your vows, that's the key thing with being married. A lot of people don't really get that. As long as they both feel like it, it's kind of how the people get married. But it's if you really do the vows, it's as long as you both shall live in sickness and health, just like you said. So it's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story. Anything you would like to add before we tie this up?
Well, there's a prayer that I shared with this lady from Burgos. She was telling me about her, how the troubles she was having in her life. And I told her this really amazing prayer that you get miracles every time you say this prayer. And the prayer is, Dear God, please make everything turn out okay. And then you let God make everything turn out okay. And it's miracles happen when you say that. And really, sometimes you just need to keep praying because, it's like you're praying because you're in pain. And so I follow that up with thank you, God, for making everything turn out okay. That's
Amen. Yeah, I did a live the other day about how I realized someone had said that anxiety is a grasp for control, or one way of seeing it. And we needed to be willing to transfer that control to God, which is what your prayer is doing. It's like, okay, I realize I don't have the control that I think that I have. And I'm going to give this control to you. So just make it work out okay.
Yeah, it's really easy for me because I don't want to botch it up, God's not going to botch it up. Although, I do realize that God has a real creative way of making things turn out okay sometimes. Sometimes you got to take the scenic route,
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we have to take the scenic route. Sometimes I think our whole life is the scenic route.
Amen. Yeah, right.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us today. It's so exciting. And you are listening, go and grab a copy of Kathleen's book, Wisdom on the Camino. And if you'd like to have her speak at your organization, your church, or whatever, that you connect with her and invite her out. Let her share a story with you. And until next time, I love you.